Hello, everyone. Good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you are located. I am so excited for today's user group meeting. Actually, I got the date wrong. Look at there. It says June 6th. Today's not June 6th. It's June 9th. I guess I inverted my numbers. But this is the Charleston Power BI user group meeting, and we have a treat for you. But before we get into our treat, I want to go through a couple slides. We got to cover a little bit of groundwork about the user group itself. If you want to join, it's free to join the Power BI user group. It's free to join the Power Apps user group. It's free to join the Power Automate user group. I'm guessing there might be a Power Virtual Agent soon, but it's often incorporated in some of the other ones. So you should join. There's a lot of great content. We do several meetings in a quarter remotely like this over YouTube Live. And then we have one on average that is local for the local people to attend. If you want to join, you can join up and join the Charleston user group. We have a bit.ly Charleston PBI, so feel free to join that. You do not have to be local to join up our user group. I do want to point out there is some training events happening with the Power BI user group and some actually among all of the Dynamics communities, some Power Up events, and there are quite a few out there that are still happening. There are two that I'm going to be taking part in personally. I am doing the BC and Power Platform 1 on June 24th. And on that one, I'm going to be building out with a friend of mine, Dynamics BC distribution, warehousing, inventory reports on Power BI. And then I'm also taking part on July 22nd on the Power Apps, learn the building blocks to success. I'll be talking about governance in that one. And I think I'm talking about security too. So a lot of great content out there. These are pretty cool. It's 2 days. And you could, one fee will get you access to all the classes, and you can even go back and watch the videos again. So that's pretty cool. In the fall, fingers crossed it'll happen, we have our annual summit this year. It's supposed to be in Nashville. And so that's pretty exciting. I also want to point out in the bottom left corner, there is a summit for Europe. And so what's exciting about that for those of you that are in the United States I'm presenting, so that should get you guys excited. But I'm not going to Barcelona. It's going to be virtual because of the virus this year. So you can attend the European conference as well. There'll be a lot of Power Platform content in that. So that's super exciting. Our next meeting, I did not put the date in. Wow, I have just lost it. Okay, so sometime in the month of July, I think it's July 9th, this is going to be our local chapter meeting. We're going to do it over Teams, though, because of the virus. We still want to make it easy for everyone. We're going to do an overview of Power BI and AI. So this is pretty cool. These are the topics we're going to be covering. So our guest this afternoon might be excited that we're sharing that with people, but this should be a lot of fun. So again, feel free to join in. That one you do need to register on the user group. And the reason you need to register on the user group is because that's going to be a Teams invite, unless we just get too many and then we might open it up. Oh, there it is, July 8th. Yay! From 5 to 6:30. Don't know why I had animation in there. If you have a topic that you want to see, quickly snap a picture of this QR code or get the bit.ly, bit.ly.pbiug, and you can fill out a questionnaire and tell us what topic you're interested in. And now, that being said, and the links that I showed you, I'll be putting those in the chat in YouTube Live in just a bit. I am so excited about today's session. We are so lucky. And, one of the things that I'm so happy about, I didn't even put his picture in here. And Mr. Aviv Ezrashi, did I pronounce that right, Aviv?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, that sounds like a close enough.
Exactly.
Ezrashi?
I'm easy with that.
Ezrachi?
Yeah, that will work.
Okay, all right.
It's actually Ezrachi.
Oh, I don't know that I could do that. I'll work on it.
That was close enough.
So Aviv, we are so lucky to have Aviv and his team. These people are amazing. I think I've seen them all at the MVP Summit present. And when Aviv said, "Hey, I would love for myself and my team to show you some really cool things," these are like the Power BI developer people. I mean, these are like product managers. These are like, yay! I'm so excited. So they're going to show us all kinds of brand new content today. Aviv, why don't you introduce your team while I copy some URLs to the chat?
Sure thing. So, hi, Belinda, and thanks for having us. And hello to everyone. We are part of the big Power BI team. We sit in Israel, so we are on a different time zone. It's an afternoon here, but we are happy to spend the next hour with you guys. We have prepared for you a brief overview of all the things that we own, and this is why we have all the team here. Alon Baram, senior product manager on our team, who is owning Power BI Embedded. Nimrod Shalit, a senior product manager on our team, who owns Deployment Pipeline, a new ALM solution that we are introducing into Power BI. Teddy Bercovitz, a senior product manager in our team, who owns Power BI Template Apps. And Salameh, who is a product manager on our team and owns the Power BI Visual Gallery. Each one of them will speak about their own topic and show you the latest additions that we have introduced on each of those areas.
Fabulous. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing and let you guys take over.
I think if I have shared, you know what, I can maybe go through another slide because the introduction is done and all I wanted to do was the introduction. But nevertheless, let me see that my slides are working. Do you see my slides?
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do.
Okay, so going back to the structure of the team, so you probably know Arun Ulag, who is the head of Power BI, Eyal Carmel, our manager here in ILDC. He is the GM of the Israeli subsidiary of Power BI development team. There are two teams here in Israel, and we represent one of those teams. And like I said previously, we own the embedding stuff. So Alon will go through that. All the automation story also owned by our team, both the REST APIs for Power BI and the ARM APIs for Azure. The two extension stories for Power BI, whether those are the Power BI visuals, the SDK, and partially the visuals, the whole experience around that, and then Power BI template apps and the connection to app source from Power BI. And lately we have added the ability to deploy content in Power BI through deployment pipelines, which we will introduce. Just to go through some of the figures here, so 20% of Power BI customers are embedding Power BI. We have a 150% year-over-year growth for the third consecutive year in embedding customers. We have 2.5 million calls for PBI on a monthly basis. We have 10K deployment pipelines in the 2 weeks that we have introduced this feature to Power BI. In terms of visualizations and using the stores, 50% of the Power BI customers are using artifacts that are extending Power BI, and we have around 300 visuals in the gallery. So that's my introduction, and I want to introduce Ranin and let her pick up from here. Ranin, stage is yours.
Yes, can you hear me? All right, okay. Can you see my screen? Hello?
Yes, we can.
Oh, okay, awesome. So, Power BI visuals. We're talking about visuals. So, A Power BI comes with dozens of out-of-the-box visuals, as you know. These are available in the visualization pane when you create or edit Power BI content in Power BI Desktop or Service. However, you can still have access to hundreds of visuals from the desktop or service. When you click on the ellipses menu, get more visuals, or from the ribbon, more visuals. Now, we have crossed the 250 visuals in the gallery to choose from. The visuals are created either by Microsoft or partners. All of them were created using our SDK. The visuals in the app source were all validated and tested before they were published and available to the public. In addition to this, we have an additional certification process called Certified Power BI Visuals, which means that the visuals that pass this process met extra code requirements and additional checks by the Power BI team. We have more, because you can use our platform and create any tailor-made visual that meets your or the business data beyond what is available in the app source. So this is an example for one custom visual that was created by MAQ Software for one of the leading companies in travel. Okay, now with these many options, how can admin actually manage Power BI visuals in their organization? So by default, everyone in the organization have access to all the visuals. So when I say all the visuals, I mean default visuals, also the app source visual, the visuals coming from the gallery, or also private visuals that were deployed or purchased from external vendors, and the admin deploy them through the organizational store, through the admin portal. And also there's a self-service when report creators simply import a file of the visual and they can simply use it inside the report, in their report. Due to policy or preferences, admins may decide that the default behavior is too broad. So they can limit usage to only the default visuals for their entire organization or whatever was whitelisted through the My Organization. So they can block the access here and in the file and just then allow the default visuals and whatever is private visuals available in the tenant. To give admins more control over the usage of Power BI, we have added another setting in the admin portal. With this settings, admin can enable users to only use default visuals, also visuals that were Power BI certified. As I mentioned, this is the extra process. And of course, any visuals in My Organization that was deployed by the admin. In this way, we give control and flexibility to Power BI admins to decide what visuals to be used in the organization and who is allowed to use them. Okay, so what's coming soon? We are extending the organizational visual store. So it's not only available to deploy private visuals, but also visuals from the app source. And any visual that was in the app source is certified, importing it to organizational store with this option will retain certification. So the visuals can, for example, be printed or exported to PDF, and also will be updated automatically if there is any update available in the store. That's the one thing coming, and we also have another new feature in the admin portal. So admin can add any organizational visual to the visualization pane as a default visual. So they can go, so the visual in the organizational store will show up next to the default visual side by side as out of the box. Of course, I'm going to show it as the demo in a minute. And we're also delivering a new feature that enables admin to monitor the usage of those visuals that are coming from app source, organizational store, or file. They can know which visuals is being used and in which reports or dashboard. Okay, let's see this in action.
And while you're loading your demo, I know you can't stay for the whole thing, so I want to tell you something right now. The feature that you put on where custom visuals are on a separate area from the out-of-the-box visuals, that little change was such a big deal to me. I absolutely loved it. So thank you for doing that.
Thank you. Great to hear this. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we do.
Okay, awesome. So we are talking about features for admin. So mentioning admin, it means admin portal, and you get here through the admin portal. Of course, you need to have admin permissions and account. And I talked about the organizational visuals. So this is where the admin used to deploy private visuals. And as I mentioned, we are extending this also to app source. So the old way was simply to click on add visual and then browse your files, and you can change the icon the way I did here, and the visual will be accessible to all the tenant members. Now we are adding this option. So admins can pick any visual or visuals from the app source, let's say word cloud. Once I clicked on it, it will show up as an organizational visual. And what I can do is, as I mentioned, I can make this visual as out of the box. For example, if I purchase a visual to the entire tenant, I want everybody to see it and to use it, so I can do this. Or for example, there's a private visual. It doesn't matter if it's private or app source, I can do that. And if we go to the one of the reports, let's do here. So this is my report. If I do the edit mode, it's applicable, by the way, in web, in service, and also, of course, in desktop. So first of all, what do you see here? This visual, both are accessible. As you see, they are out of the box, showing next to the default visual. So if you right-click here, you'll learn more about this visual. It's coming from Organizational Store and Publisher Microsoft and all the information you need to know. And where I can get access to the rest of the organizational visuals, these are here under the My Organization tab. So it doesn't matter what the admin decide what to do with the app source visual, or to enable them or disable just the uncertified. The My Organizational visual will always be accessible to the entire members. And one more thing, just to show you, this is nothing new. It was already released, this feature. So for example, I get this report and I look at this visual and I see, oh, it's nice visual. I right-click on it to read more about that. And I see it's from AKVs, that's the version, and that's where I get the support, and it's from app source. And if I like this visual and I want to use it across multiple reports, so I simply just right-click and pin the visual, and it will simply go up with the rest of my default view or my favorite list of visual. And for example, if I want to replace this with, let's say I don't want this visual, the default visual, because I don't use it, or I want to use something else, so I simply unpin it. And next time I open a new report, I will simply see only that list. So this way, I, as a report author, have full control over the visualization pane. That's it.
Great. And since you are leaving early, there is one question I'd like to go ahead and just throw out at you, and then the rest of them we'll try to save toward the end. But there is someone asking about the small multiples. Is there anything on the roadmap for native small multiples? He knows that there's some third-party pieces, but...
Yes, we actually have recently new visuals in the app source with the small multiples. I am not aware of any small multiples as a default. You mean by default is like created by Microsoft and simply...
Yes.
Not that I'm aware of, but anything any user likes in the gallery, they can simply add it to the report, and then it will show up here.
And I should remind you, Corey, that was your question, and Corey is one of our locals to our user group. You should go to ideas, and I'm sure there is one already out there, and vote it up. Right, Aviv?
That's correct. Yeah. By the way, as far as I know, there is a plan to do something around that. So I don't want to talk too much around stuff that we do not own, but you might see this coming soon. This one.
Well, thanks for sharing.
Okay.
That was lovely.
Do we want to move on to the next presenter?
Teddy is
Thank you.
also.
Yes.
Thanks, Ronnie.
Thank you, Renine.
Thank you.
We can see Teddy.
Thank you. So hello, everybody. We're going to talk about template apps now. And let's get started. So let's imagine for a second you're a project manager using Project Online, or you're a sales rep using LinkedIn Sales Navigator, or even tenant admin in charge of your office usage. Imagine that you could go ahead into Power BI and get ready at analytics that all you have to do is plug in your authentication, and the next thing you see is you're getting out-of-the-box reports that help you perform better and do your job better, right? So this is the gist of template apps. And one of the, I think, most interesting parts of it is that it's not only coming from Microsoft, it's coming all across the community and with our partners, such as yourself, that wanted to share their kind of understanding and vertical knowledge and create a template app to better have our community perform. So let's move forward. So what's the main benefits for using template app? So the first thing, as you can see, it's insights out of the box, right? All you have to do is download one from App Source, plug in your authentication and the parameters relevant for that template app, and then you're ready to go and you're ready to perform better and track your KPIs. Something else you might want to consider, that's a very good way to start personalization story, right? For example, you download something, you want to change a graph or a visual, like Bernin just showed you. You have a very nice custom visual that you want to change. Template apps have a very good complementary story to those kind of small personalization. As well as full-blown edit of reports, that's also possible. Unified view means that not only that you download the template app from the marketplace, you can also take one of the visuals that you want, one of the KPIs, and then you can plug it into an organizational dashboard, for example, to make it work with the other KPIs that you're tracking as an organization. Good. So by now, I hope you're asking yourself, so how can I get those? Where can we get those? So there's two places you can get those. One is from the embedded experience inside Power BI. We just completely revamped this marketplace and we're going to demo it very soon. And I'll show you how to use it. And the other place is AppSource. These stores are identical, right? So you can go ahead and go directly to Power BI and launch the experience from there or from AppSource. Now, what can you find there? So our partners and some of our Microsoft services, they're working relentlessly to get you the best KPIs in the best quality. And you can see that those apps come sometimes in suites, right? You might find a suite of sales, a suite of supply chain, and that's why you'll be seeing the same company releasing several template apps to completely cover the use case. And they come from analytics, artificial intelligence, collaboration, and so forth. So feel free to go ahead and get one.
Hey, Teddy.
Now,
I have to interrupt you on that last slide you had. There were 6 of them that I built when you popped them up. I've been bouncing in my chair, excited you guys are going to be here all day. But now I'm doubly excited because you demoed 6 things I just did. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yes, I remember our late night, Belinda. Don't worry about it.
I know you do.
Okay, so what's the process? You find something you like, then you go ahead and you install one. When you install one, you always get a workspace and the app itself. So the workspace is there, and all the artifacts are inside the workspace waiting for you for further customization. After you do that, you launch the app, and you have a very nice sample experience always with the template app. The sample experience is there in order for you to understand what the app is about, even before you connect it to your own data, right? So you'll play with the app, you see how the KPIs might help your organization or yourself, and then you go ahead and you connect the app right inside the app, right? You don't need to leave the app. You go ahead, connect to data. You'll be launched with a connection experience, which starts by every app has a different way of authenticating. In this app, it's from Dynamics. You need to put your Dynamics installation path. We automatically schedule refresh for you. Now, that's a brand new feature. It's in order for you never to leave the app. All you have to do, you go ahead and you authenticate, and we make sure that the data is always refreshed for you on a daily basis. You need to select authentication method that depending on the data source, and you're ready to go. Something else to consider is what happens when the partner releases a new version. So that's very simple. You'll get a notification right in the notification pane in Power BI. When you press, you'll be launched with an update experience. You'll be asked if you're ready to go ahead and overwrite over the previous version. So if you made some customization, go ahead and save the report as a different name. You go ahead and you overwrite, and then you get the app. It's simple as that. Now, make sure that since you were installed with a workspace and an org app, you'll need, in the meantime, you'll need to publish the org app again after an update in order to make sure it's updated according to the workspace changes. Good. Authoring, I will demo that, but the workspace is there for the authoring experience. You can start by doing small changes right inside the app, or you can go ahead and edit the report itself and adding even more artifacts into the same workspace. So this is the time for a demo. Second. Okay, so now I'm in Power BI. I'll go to my app stage. And from today, some of you, it will be tomorrow, when you launch the Get Apps, you'll be launched with a brand new marketplace experience. So when you press Get Apps, you'll see something which you haven't seen until now, which is the new marketplace experience. Now, if you notice, you have a new tab here called All Apps. And in this tab, you see that you have several apps. Some of them are organizational apps, and some of them are template apps. It's very easy to notice them from the little shopping cart here that tells you that this is actually a template app. Now you can go ahead and go to specifically to the template apps tab, and then you'll see only template apps. Now, how does the search work? So obviously, you can look by publisher name, and then you'll see all the apps published by Microsoft. Or you can go ahead and look for verticals such as sales. And then we look on all the categories, and we launch the relevant apps that have a sales category. Okay, so let's go ahead and install the first app together.
Teddy, was your team the team that created the ability for apps instead
no,
of
these are
content?
org apps.
Oh, okay. All right. Because I love them.
Unless you mean also the template apps, which replace the content packs altogether.
Yeah. I love them. I think they're awesome.
Amazing. So let's go ahead and get the app, and we'll see the experience. Now, because this template app actually does not require specific authentication, we'll authenticate it with an anonymous data source. So let's go ahead and install. That's a verification. I'm telling you this app is coming from app source. Now, as you see this toast message, what's happening right now is that we're deploying the workspace in your tenant, and we're installing the app for you. So let's go ahead and see the app. Wonderful. We go to the app. So the first thing to do is explore sample data. And then you can see how the app behaves and what kind of functionality it has for you. And in this case, it's tracking US COVID. And you can see right now that it's out of date, right? Because it's still a sample app. So let's go ahead and connect it to data. Right, we're launched with a connection experience. Now, you don't actually need to do anything, but to go ahead and sign in. And change it to public because it's an anonymous data source. And you'll see that you never need to leave the app. Right inside the app, you'll get a banner that tells you what's the status of the data. And once the data will be refreshed, you'll get the KPIs ready for you. So let's wait another second and see the data change. Wonderful. So as you can see, voila, data change. Sadly, everything is red, but yes. Something else to know: if, for example, the app publisher has activated personalization for you. Personalization is a brand new feature in Power BI that helps you change visuals right inside the app or the report or the artifact you're viewing. So in this case, let's go ahead and change from the shape map. Let's change it to the ESRI map here. And voila, I never left the app. I get a brand new visual from ESRI or a custom visual I have inside my organization, and it's working. Now, if I'm not happy with it, I can always go ahead and reset back to default, and it will go ahead and be the same installation as it was before my personalization. That's it. What's next? So
we do have a question that you could take real quick, I think. Someone is asking if apps are only available in the Pro version.
Yes, so template apps are indeed a Pro feature. It gives you a workspace. We refresh your data. So yes, template apps are a Pro feature. Good. So the next on the radar are we're continuing to revamping the app experience, right? We want you to just use the app. You won't need to go to the workspace whatsoever. So for the consumption model, we're going and doubling down on the app. Everything will happen from the app. In terms of connectivity, we're doing that as well. So we'll help the users using the template apps not worry about privacy levels, authentication method. Everything will be pre-configured for them. And that will accelerate consumption and accelerate productivity. So if you want to go ahead and become a publisher, go ahead and use these links, and you can create a template app and publish it on AppSource if it's relevant for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Teddy. I'm going to share my screen. Hi, everybody. It's Nimrod here. Let me know if you can see my screen.
We see it.
Yeah, we can. Yeah.
Great. So next topic on the agenda is deployment pipelines. It's a new feature that was actually just released 2 weeks ago to public preview. So probably not all of you have heard about it. And so I'm going to do a quick recap and demo of what it is. So deployment pipeline is a Power BI premium tool that is a native part of Power BI service, which is purpose is to help BI teams and BI creators to build a more efficient and reusable process when they're releasing new or updated content to their end users. Any BI team or creators that will use deployment pipelines will be able to improve their productivity since they will have more time to focus on their core work, on developing new content and models, rather than checking 20 times that they've did the right thing or doing other manual work. They will be able to deliver content updates faster while not compromising on the quality of what they're releasing, because they will significantly reduce the manual work and hence they will reduce the errors that comes along with it. Deployment pipeline is also a tool that almost any BI developer, any BI organization can use. It's a simple UI that there's no need for previous expertise or experience in coding. It takes seconds, as you will see, to create a pipeline, and it takes minutes to set up a production-ready pipeline to manage content that you already have within your the Power BI service. Let's go ahead and see how it looks. All right, so now I'm in my Power BI homepage, and as you can see, I have a new deployment pipelines button here on the navigation pane on the left. Not all of you will see it because it's a Power BI premium feature, so organizations that do not have premium capacities will not see it in order not to clutter all of the users if it's useless for them. So clicking here, I can see it's a new object in Power BI, so I can see all of the pipelines that I've either created or that has been shared with me. And let's just create a new pipeline. And I'm going to skip the description, and I'm creating. And what is being created now, this is the main view of a pipeline. It is based out of 3 stages: development, test, and production. Within each stage, there will be a workspace where content will either be copied or updated between the workspaces in each of the stages. Right now, since I've just created it, it is empty. And in order to start working with a pipeline, I need to assign a workspace that I want to manage its content within a pipeline. So I'm going to click assign a workspace, and I'm going to choose this workspace. I have a list of all the available workspaces that I can assign into a pipeline. Not all the workspaces that I have access. I need to be an admin. It needs to be within a capacity, and it's not assigned to any other pipeline. And I'm going to just put it in development. And now you see a summary of what I have within the workspace. I can click here and see all the content that I have, and I can also navigate. You see that I have the links. I can go and navigate directly into the workspace. If I'll click here and open the workspace page, now I have a new label to give me the context of what I'm seeing, that it's part of a pipeline and that it's a development workspace now. And I also have actions here. Now, in order to start putting content within the other stages, I just need to click deploy, which is now, since it's the first deploy, it is creating a new workspace. You'll see it in a second. Here it is. It is also assigning it into a capacity so that the deployment will be completed. And now it takes, since I'm deploying all of the content that I have, it will take between 30 seconds to a minute. And it will duplicate all the content that I have here, including all the relationships between the items. So I have an exact copy, as you can see right now. And if I'm clicking here, you see that it's the exact same list. And I also have an indicator here telling me that the content is identical between the stages. And that's obvious because I've just did a deployment. Let's go see another pipeline, which is full now. And let's pretend that I'm a BI team and I'm making changes. I've already uploaded some new content here, and you see that the indicator has been changed to orange because there are updates to the development, and so there's a difference between dev and test. And let's choose a report. And let's do some stuff. So as I'm a BI team, I'm going to do some operations. So let's say that I'm going to pin this visual into a dashboard. I'm pinning that. And let's just pin another one into a different dashboard. And just for the sake of the demo, I'm going to edit from within the service. I'm just going to do a very small change. Okay, that's enough. I've changed this visual from horizontal to a vertical bar chart, and I'm going to save it. All right, let's go back to our pipelines now after I made all the updates. And it was this one. All right, and now you saw that already I have a new compare button when the indicator is orange. When I click here, I get all the differences between the different stages on an artifact by artifact comparison. And you see the labels that are pointing exactly what I have added and what has been changed. And you see that it's exactly what I've just changed a second ago. So it's instantly identifying that changes were made, and I can see that here. So I know what has been changed and what can I do with that. And should I deploy it? Should I talk to someone from my team and think whether there's still work to do, or can I deploy to the next stage? So I can either click here and deploy all the content, or if I'm responsible only for some of the content within that workspace, I can go and choose only what I want to deploy, so I will not interfere with others' work. Let's just, for the sake of the demo, I'm just going to choose everything that I have here, and I'm going to deploy that to test. And I'm getting a warning because now I'm overriding content, which can be aggressive operation. So we're checking that the user actually wanted to do that. Now I'm going to copy.
I have a comment and a question. The comment is, please, 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 can we get it in Pro? Please, please. And then my question is, so when you move it to test, can you assign secure rights to certain individuals to actually perform testing on the test stage?
Yes, so regarding Pro right now, it's not in the plans. Maybe in the future it will change, but I can't share licensing plans right now. And for the second question, each of the workspaces are regular workspaces. So once you have a workspace here, you can even do it from a pipeline. You can go to the workspace access and share it with anyone, and it has the exact permission model as any workspace in Power BI. So regular users can go and look at the content, even if they don't have access to the pipeline itself.
Nice.
Okay, now back here, you see that now the indicator has changed to green and that the compare has moved in here. I'm just going to take 1 minute because time is running up. One more powerful feature that we have here, just a second. One more powerful feature that we have here is dataset rules that allows us to configure specific values for data sources and parameters. And so that we will, even if we're updating the dataset, we will always keep the values that we defined here intact. So I can make sure that test stage and test dataset is connected to test database, and it will not be changed. Let's just show how it looks. I'm going back to my report that I've just made a change, and I'm going to open it. And so you can see this is the development report that I've seen before, that I've shown you, and I've made the change. And if I'm going to the same report in test, you will see that from one hand, the change that I've made to a visual has propagated to test, but the data is different, and that because I've applied rules on the data source and parameters. And so I'm seeing a different data, so that production test and development can show different data, even if I'm updating the data set and report as we go into future updates. That's it. Alon, it's yours.
That's fantastic. Thank you.
Okay. Let me know if you can see.
We can.
Okay. So hi, everyone, and welcome to Power BI Embedded Analytics part. My name is Alon, and I'm a product manager for Power BI Embedded Analytics and user APIs in the Power BI for Developers team. What we do, we enable customers and partners to quickly add visuals and reports into their own applications, websites, or portals without the time and expense of having to build controls from the ground up. In this session, I'm going to review the latest and upcoming features in Power BI Embedded. I'm going to start with looking why customers are choosing Power BI Embedded and list the various ways they deploy it to their users. And then I'm going to present and demonstrate some of our latest releases and provide a glimpse into what's coming next. So let's go. So let's start with why partners and customers are choosing Power BI Embedded Analytics. They've got many reasons. First of all, they adopt decades of analytics expertise and give users access to the continued investment Microsoft makes in business intelligence, Power BI, data analytics, and AI. They get total control over visuals and features. They choose the best way to visualize their data and the best way to make it feel a part of their application and user flow. It's very easy to use and maintain. We provide APIs, SDKs, and tools to enable the developers to automate processes and minimize the time invested here. And if we talk about the ISV scenario, they pay as little as $1 per hour for in-app analytics, and they scale as the business grows with no requirement for end-user licensing, which is very different from Power BI. It is purpose-built for software companies, but it fits the enterprise needs as well. And on the right side, you can see an example. This is the Dynamics 365 Customer Service Insight application using Power BI embedded. And the users do not have any Power BI license. Now let's explore the most common options to deploy Power BI for users. Okay, so customers deploy Power BI for the users depending on their profile and needs. As you can see on the left side, Power BI authenticated users can consume analytics directly in PowerBI.com SaaS application, or they can consume Power BI embedded analytics in websites, portals, SharePoint web part, or Teams within their organization. On the right side, you can see the two embedding options for non-Power BI authenticated users. Embed for your customers and publish to web. Embed for your customers makes use of one entity to manage all authentications to Power BI. Users authenticate to the web application with any authentication method selected by the app owner. In publish to web, users can consume Power BI embedded analytics without being authenticated at all. For each feature presented in this session, you will note the supported deployment scenario on the upper right side of the slide. You will see the same sign as you see the signs here. So I will start with the latest releases of Power BI embedded and user APIs. First, we'll start with embedded paginated reports. We have reached general availability. It is supporting row-level security. So when you embed a paginated report, you can control which data is displayed. This allows tailoring the displayed information per user and provides a secure way of displaying a subset of the data in a way that does not compromise the rest of data. It really resembles the row-level security feature, which provides a secure way of displaying data in Power BI reports, as most of the users already know. URL parameters are supported
Hold on,
as well.
Alon. I got to applaud for that one. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. URL parameters are supported as well. This capability, already supported in Power BI service, allows ISVs and developers to control their users' experience by appending extra parameters to the generated embed URL. Embedded paginated reports feature includes REST API calls for deployment automation as Power BI reports and export to file format, as I will show in the next slide. And last, I'd mention that you need at least a P1 or an A4 capacity. This is the current situation to use embedded paginated reports, but we're working very hard with our team in Redmond. So during this year, the entry point will be reduced to A3, so stay tuned.
Cool.
The powerful Power BI REST API calls were extended to support important yet repeatable tasks related to paginated reports. For example, the deployment workflow shown in this diagram can be automated by using the APIs presented. So, for example, you can create a workspace, you can assign a workspace to a capacity, you can import or clone a paginated report, you can update data source connection, and embed content in your SaaS application. Last, you can export the report to various formats supported by paginated reports, and paginated report supports many formats. So we have a REST API to export a paginated report. And now I'm going to briefly demonstrate an actual embedded paginated report and how an app owner can control users' experience by appending extra parameters to the generated embed URL. So if I type AKMS PBI.js, this is public, and it takes me to the Power BI Embedded Playground, where I can embed a paginated report in a web application. The report of Adventure Works company, it's an example, presents sales orders that can be filtered by an order parameter. The app owner can control which sales order a user will see by appending a specific sales order number to the generated embed URL. In this case, it is sales order number 50689. By adding another URL parameter, this report can be exported to another format, PDF in this case, so you can use URL parameters to export reports, and the user gets a nice pixel-perfect report. The report is downloaded, and it's just a PDF report out of this paginated report exported.
Nice.
Yeah, indeed. Another feature we've added this year is the Power BI Report Authoring SDK extension. This extension allows to programmatically create visuals, bind them to columns, measures, hierarchies, and personalize them by setting properties like axis visibility and titles. Installed custom visuals are supported as well. Ranin went away, but we also support authoring of installed custom visuals. The app owner can create visuals on the fly, edit existing visuals according to the user's actions, or empower any user to be a BI creator and explore data any way they want without being an expert. I'm going to demonstrate the visual authoring and the SDK extension using the Power BI Embedded Playground. Again, this is the same playground, which is a public site. So opening the playground and running a report, I can go to the Interact tab and approach the authoring set of APIs. Here, I can create a new embedded visual and look at the code in the central brackets. I can create more visuals. I can change visual type. I can add visual data field, category in this example. I can set visual property, moving the legend to the bottom in this case, and many more, and all is done by APIs. You can interact with it yourself in the Power BI Embedded Playground, so folks can play with it. One of the common use cases, as I said, for app owners is to leverage the visual authoring APIs and implement a BI creator for the users without requiring them to have any previous Power BI experience. I will demonstrate it using the Quick Visual Creator showcase in the Showcase tab of the Playground. So here the user selects a visual type, waterfall chart in this case, selects a category like region, breakdown by state. The y-axis is total units, and here we get an embedded visual created on the fly. The user can further set the properties like show and hide the legend or title, and even personalize the title. Let's say it can write Power BI Forever. That's just an example. And it's Power BI Forever. Last, I'd like to point you to the code of this showcase and to the visual authoring documentation in GitHub. So everything is documented and you can use it for your apps.
That's very cool.
Thank you. The next feature is REST API. So it's not only for embedded. It's released as preview, and it's export Power BI report to file API. The API allows to export full reports or selected pages to PDF, PowerPoint, and PNG formats. If we use it for paginated reports, it has all the supported paginated reports formats. It supports row-level security, allowing to export a report showing data that's only visible to certain users. It also supports data protection sensitivity labels for PDF and PowerPoint, and it is very easy to use it in a Power Automate flow as the one I'm using in the next demo. So it's better together with Flow or Automate. In this demo, I'm showing an example of sending Power BI reports as PDF files to users using the Export Report to File API configured in a Power Automate flow. So this is the Power BI report of La Liga. You're an American, so I'm not sure you're familiar with La Liga, but it's soccer. I'd like to export this as PDF and send it to mailboxes. It has few pages, as you can see, and I'd like to send them all as one report. For automation, I've created this Power Automate flow with all relevant export APIs parameters configured inside with the mail trigger as last step. To run the flow, I add the email list, define the format, PDF in this case, and click Run. A few minutes pass, and each recipient gets the mail with the exported report in a PDF format. And of course, Power Automate allows many other options to use with this API.
That's cool.
Thanks. Other new features we've enabled recently in embedded scenarios include auto page refresh that leverages direct query connection to get the latest data with minimum refresh interval of only 1 second. So now it's supported in embedded as well.
What? Say that with a really?
Yeah.
But that's just
now
for direct query, right? That's just for direct query?
Yeah, exactly. So you can get down to 1 second. It supports all types of embedded except for SharePoint Online, which will be supported in 1 or 2 months.
Oh,
so
cool.
As you see in the upper right, you can see Teams and all the other scenarios, but you don't see SharePoint still. You will see it soon.
Okay, cool.
Okay. The composition tree visual has recently reached general availability. This highly requested feature is also supported in Power BI Embedded. The composition tree can be used to perform root cause analysis by viewing how individual categories in a group contribute to the whole. The visual lets you decompose, or we say break down, a group to see its individual categories and how they can be ranked according to a selected measure, such as by sales amount in this case, and it's now supported in embedded, fully supported in embedded.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And next is our new developer tools for developers. We have developed new samples based on additional platforms and programming languages, such as Java, Python, Node.js, and more. I will share the link to those samples at the end of this session. The new samples are using Power BI Embedded best practices, including Bootstrap and the latest libraries, such as the latest Microsoft Authentication library, MSAL. So this is for developers. And the following features are going to be launched this year as well, very soon. We're adding support for persistent filters, also known as sticky filters, in embedded for your organization scenario. It will allow users to retain filters, slicers, and other data view changes they make, just as they do it in the service, Power BI service. The reset to default button needs to be implemented by the app owner. But all in all, there's only 3 lines of code, as you can see below. So every app owner of embedded in SharePoint or any other embedded mechanism can do it in 3 lines of code. The Q&A visual as part of embedded AI is going to be added soon as well. It already supports import and live connect modes, and within a few weeks, it will support direct query as well. This was highly requested in the past. We are also going to support embedding of Power BI reports inside Jupyter Notebooks. For those who doesn't know Jupyter Notebooks, it's a tool that allows developers to write text alongside Python code. Now they will have the option to add Power BI reports and do data storytelling with Jupyter Notebooks and Power BI. And we are going to add Python support for JavaScript SDK. All features supported in Power BI Embedded will be also supported in Jupyter Notebooks. Finally, we are adding a default built-in action bar for all embedding scenarios within the organization, including Teams, SharePoint Online, and URL embedding, which is also called Secure Embed. It will expose most consumer features available in Power BI Service Action Bar, and app owners will be able to control whether to show or hide the action bar to their users. In the right side, you can see an example within Team. Okay, and so here you have links to our developer samples and documented APIs, Power BI Embedded Playground, onboarding setup tools, and more. As always, we encourage you to provide feedback at Power BI IDs. It's very important for us. We look at IDs almost every day. APIs and embedding category. You go to Power BI IDs and you choose the APIs and embedding category. You can see the link at the bottom of the slide. We also have a new developer in a day recorded course. It's just a few days old. And I highly recommend you to give it a try, even if you are not a developer. You can go step by step in a recorded session and just develop a web app with an embedded analytics, Power BI embedded analytics inside.
I have two questions for you. One, you had Node.js up on the screen. Is that available now for embedding?
Yes, Node.js is already available.
Yeah. Cool. And then you had the Q&A visual up. Is the Q&A tooling available to set up like the suggested questions for embedding?
No, this is not available yet. I think it's only available in the desktop, so I don't.
Okay.
So I don't think it's available in the Power BI service as well. If it will be available, the tooling in Power BI service, it will be available in embedded as well.
Okay.
Okay. And if you ask yourself, what is the best way to get updates and help regarding Power BI embedded analytics and user APIs? So Power BI developers' periodic blog posts present all the new features and updates. Stack Overflow will get you help from the developers community and in their own words, for developers by developers. So those are the two main sources. And that's it, I think. Yeah, thank you.
Cool. I'm excited. I've got a couple ideas floating around in my head. Retta, what about you? Do you have any questions for this amazing team?
No, I mean, I've been impressed so far with everything that they've presented. That's definitely has been some new functionalities that I know a lot of our group members are going to be excited about to see in the upcoming releases. But overall, it's been pretty wild.
Yeah. So this is super exciting. I am really excited about the embedding. And for those of you who might not be using the apps, I want to go back and address that for a moment. When you create an app for your company, and again, you do have to have the pro version because it's a form of sharing. Two things I want to point out about that. One, you could reduce the amount of training for the end users dramatically when you're using an app. So that's pretty cool. And you can still upload a whole Excel file that they could use Excel Online for. And then depending upon your rights, you can automatically set it up where apps get installed automatically for your end user. So if you're not using apps yet, I really encourage you strongly to do so. Are there any other questions out there? I don't see any more on the screen.
Yeah, they can always send us questions, and we'll we'll answer them.
Okay, great. Yep. So if you guys have questions, you could send your questions to me. I'll tell you what I'll do. Just reference this. Whoop, that is not my email. And I do have to give Teddy a big shout out. Teddy was insanely helpful for me when I was creating those app templates. So, and Eddie, I'm almost positive I did this because I was intending to. At the Impasse Summit that followed that last year, I hunted down Aviv. I'm pretty sure it was Aviv, and told him so how helpful you were. So, okay, so we'll go ahead.
Thank you, Belinda.
Yeah, because you were insanely.
It was a pleasure working for you.
Oh, with. Yeah, it's a pleasure working for you. So, okay, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. I am so excited by everything you showed today. I have been dancing in my chair all morning. I'm still dancing in my chair. I started writing down notes of things that I want to do. So if you guys have questions, feel free to to shoot me an email, and we'll work on getting the answer back. And so beyond that, thank you everybody for attending, and a quick thanks to the whole team of you guys. You guys were just absolutely amazing. And so thanks everyone for attending. Thanks to this wonderful team in Israel who is just making the product that we know and love better and better and better and better. And special thanks to Retta and Rhett, my chapter leaders. And Retta will be running next month's meeting because it's going to be our regular one. And you guys got to thank you for all the presentations and information. And everyone, stay safe. Bye.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.